Meanwhile, William sits at the kitchen table quietly doing his homework. "I hope you won't return to your usual ways next week," his mother said. "What usual ways?" William defensively asked. "Having to constantly pester you to do your homework," his mother replied. William claimed that the assignments he was given at Cromwell Road were boring. "Boring or not, they need doing." "I know." William groaned. "Are you looking forward to going back to Cromwell Road?" she asked. "Sort of," he hesitantly replied. "I'm worried that everyone will know I've spent 2 weeks in a girls' school." "You've spent 2 weeks learning the error of your ways and getting your education back on track." "I know, but they won't see it that way." "You need to worry less about what other people think and concentrate on doing the right thing," his mother replied. "I know it's not been easy attending St. Felicity's, but it's done you the world of good." William frowned and focused on his homework assignment, but couldn't help but think about the prospect of everyone teasing him and calling him Wendy. All being well, Friday should be their final day at St. Felicity's School for Girls. It all depends on the reports from their teachers, the formidable prefects who supervise their playtime activities, and feedback on their behavior at home too. William wakes and washes before donning his knickers and training bra, followed by the blouse, tights and plaid pinafore dress. He goes down to the kitchen for breakfast, and whilst his mother tends the toaster, he swiftly plats his hair. Meanwhile, Andrew sits huffing and puffing whilst his mother pulls his hair into 2 high bunches. "They're too tight," he whines. "Nonsense," his mother retorts as she pulls a brush through them and makes sure his ribbons are perfect. "You want to look nice, it should be your last day all being well," she tells him. "Stand up, let's have a look at you." "Oh stop fussing," he moans as she faffs with his collar and straightens his tie. She steps back and admires him, from his bouncy bunches to his shiny black shoes. "Have you got everything?" she asked. "The minibus should be here soon." I think so," Andrew replied as he pushed his arms into his fitted burgundy blazer. His mother opens his handbag and checks that there's a clean pair of knickers, a spare pair of tights and some tissues inside. "Thanks," he meekly says as she hands it to him. 10 minutes pass before the minibus pulls up outside. His mother watches as he trots down the drive and climbs inside. The sliding door shuts behind him. "Is it your last day today, Alice?" Timothy asked. "I hope so," Andrew replied. "When's yours?" he asked. "It was weeks ago," Timothy said. "I decided to stay at St. Flick's," he added. "What, permanently?" Andrew quizzed. Timothy nodded and explained that his mother was keen on continuing his petticoat regime after his suspension had ended, which meant he'd still have to wear the girls' uniform at his old school. "I didn't think they were allowed to do that," Andrew said. "Depends on the school," Timothy replied, before stating that he'd rather go to a school where all the boys are petticoated rather than being the only one. "Makes sense." Ronald boarded the bus and sat beside Andrew. "Hiya, Ronnie," Andrew said. "Girl names only, boys," the driver sternly said. "You know the rules, Alice." "Sorry, sir," Andrew replied before humbly repeating his greeting to Ronald, this time using his girl name. The minibus trundled through the side streets, picking up boys here and there as it circumnavigated the town. Andrew looked forward to everything to go back to normal, wearing his own clothes, waking up in his own room, no more bunches, no more tights, no more heels, no more supervised play, no more dance classes and no more answering to Alice. "Can't say I'm gonna miss this place," Andrew said to William as they entered the building. Their heels clacked noisily on the parquet floor. "I can't say I'm really looking forward to going back to Cromwell Road either," William replied. Their pleated knee-length pinafore dresses swished with every step. "Still worried everyone will know?" Andrew asked. His bunches bounced around his ears. William nodded. Andrew is a bit more optimistic and figures that since they'd never heard anything about boys being sent to a girls' school when suspended, until it happened to them, then the teachers and truant officers must be keeping it quiet. Maybe the threat of exposure is what'll keep us on the straight and narrow when we go back. Andrew suggested. Yeah, maybe. William replied. I'll see you at lunch, he asked. Sure. Andrew replied. They went to their respective classes and waited for the register to be called. Here, miss. Andrew said as his name, Alice Smith, was called. He hates being called Alice, but has little choice but to answer to it since refusal would only mean having to spend even longer at St. Felicity's, and that's something he really doesn't want, especially now his 2-week suspension is almost over.